Let's give them something to cheer for now.
My point to you is, there is no such thing as a flop that takes a field for our football team.
Time now for the College Football Inquirer. Here's Pat, Russ, and Dan.
Welcome to the pod. July 4th is coming. Happy birthday, America.
America.
Proud to be an American. At least I know I'm free.
Mm-hmm.
We have the inalienable right to try to blow off our hands with fireworks.
Be careful out there with the fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
Also we're going to talk about Ryan Mallett. And we got a lot of listeners on the Gulf Coast and Great Lakes, and careful of the riptides and the oceans and everything else. Very dangerous out there. We'll talk Ryan Mallett in a minute, but I was talking to Casey Dick, who played at Arkansas, as a teammate of Ryan's. He's like, if Ryan Mallett can drown, this is a 35-year-old, 6'6" NFL football player who was in good shape. So careful out there with the fireworks and the water and everything else you morons can get into. We need you for audience. We've said this before. We cannot afford any of our listeners to die.
That's right. We need you healthy, wealthy, wise, and subscribing.
Yes. So that's really my concern. It's really not a public service announcement. It's a personal bit. Also, show news. We're probably only going to do one show next week. Maybe there'll be two, but probably one. Although all the conferences could realign in next week too. So I don't know, but don't be expecting something on July 4th, because that's, we're busy, very, very busy. Mm-hmm. Also, we were going to try to do something a little more formal, but we're not doing this. Pat, Ross, and I will be at the SEC Media Days in mid-August, and we're going to possibly set up some kind of meetup. Tweet up. I don't know what they call it.
Tweet up. What is that?
Meetup. I don't know.
I don't want to be involved in anything called a tweet up, Dan.
We're definitely not getting together on Twitter. We may get together in person.
Oh, that's right. Tweet up. Yeah, real. We're going to go to a bar in Nashville, and we're going to invite everyone who wants to come.
There. All our listeners.
July 17th in Nashville. Monday night in Nashville, if you want to come hang out with us. Now, what bar is open at this point? Because again, I was supposed to organize this and I didn't.
Our usual get a honky tonk.
Our usual painstaking planning here.
Painstaking planning. 2 minutes before the show, I decided on this plan of action. If you own a bar in downtown Nashville, or you know somebody, or you want us to hang out at your favorite bar in downtown Nashville, have them contact me. My Twitter is always DM. Our DMs are open, all that. And we'll take the best offer. Whoever gives the best offer. The offer being Pat, Ross, and I get to drink free. That's the parameters we're hoping for.
That's the NIL deal we're shooting for.
But in the spirit of NIL, I'm willing to go higher. So, we're bidding war this out. We can transfer portal the bar. No, if you own a bar in downtown, we might bring 5 people. We might bring 500. I don't know. I got no idea what might be coming. I do know they'll arrive thirsty. Whoever comes will arrive thirsty. I think this will be a good deal on a Monday night for you. So if you want to host our meetup on July 17th in the evening, in Nashville, Tennessee. We're not leaving the little downtown area, though, unless you got a really good offer.
Right.
Anything's negotiable. So
there are some spots over by Vanderbilt.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? I'll go to Murfreesboro if it's enough money.
Hey, man, the rooftops in Nashville, the rooftop bars. Yeah. Pretty solid rooftop bars. Although in the middle of July, I don't know that we want to be outside, but yeah.
Right. We might be asking for it.
Well, whatever. Come make your pitch. We'll bring you a crowd. I think some people will show up. It'll be good quality, maybe quantity, definitely quality. All that. All right, we actually have a lot to do here today.
We do.
We actually have a lot to do. First off, July 1st, a whole bunch of schools are switching conferences. So we're going to start with that. We got NIL. I said we talk about Mallett. We had some Georgia stuff. We got Iowa State, and Iowa State's going to give us beer. And Iowa might, there's a lot going on with it. I mean, this is a wild show. But wanted to do conference realignment. The moves are getting made. The AAC, we got what else is official?
American.
What is?
Yeah, you got UTSA. You got North Texas, Rice. Who else?
Charlotte.
All these.
Charlotte. Yep. UAB.
All right, we're gonna do a quick winners and losers of what's happening on the 1st.
Yeah.
Snake draft. Or you get to pick. You can say winner or loser.
Okay.
Pat, who's the number one winner or loser of what's about to happen?
I'm gonna say Houston is the biggest winner going into the Big 12 starting July 1st. They back a long time ago, nearly 30 years ago, they were in the club. They were in the Southwest Conference, which was a big conference. And they were duking it out with Texas and Texas A&M and Texas Tech and all the, Arkansas and everybody else. And then they got dropped when the Southwest Conference fell apart, and they melded the Big 8 and the Southwest Conference. They were excluded from that. They kind of wandered the wilderness and were kind of almost forced down to a lesser tier than most of the rest of their state. Certainly more than all the schools that were in the Big 12 or SEC from that state. And now they've made it back and get Big 12 membership. The football program has been solid, not necessarily super consistent, but it's hit some very high points under some very, they had some big coaching hires, Kevin Sumlin, Tom Herman, who really helped them there. And then basketball's just fantastic. And they're going into the best basketball league in the country with one of the best basketball programs in the country. So I look at Houston as an urban school, something of a commuter school that kind of had been pigeonholed as you're not with the leafy campuses in the smaller towns and everything. Well, now they're in. And so I think I would say the Cougars out of the teams going into the Big 12 would be my biggest winner.
Okay.
So Ross, I'll go with UCF. And part of the reason I'll go with them is because of this. They started playing Division III football as an independent in 1979. So think about that, right? Roughly 40 years, and they are will be a Power 5 football program. And really, you could say, they only got to Division 1A in 96, it looks like. So, roughly 25 years, and they are in a Power 5. So incredible, quick ascent up the ladder for UCF. They've invested there incredibly amount. I visited there just last spring maybe, and the facilities are great and coming along. They're pouring a lot of money into it. Huge enrollment at the school. A lot of positivity there. Of course, Gus Malzahn, coach, and they've been doing pretty successful in football. So I think they're the big winners. And unlike any other Big 12 school, right, they've got Florida to recruit from. So that helps.
Pat, this is Pat's idea. I don't let it. What is the parameters of this thing again? Explain this.
Pay attention when I come up with a great idea. Come on.
It's not a bad idea. It is
No, I like who are the biggest winners, and then also who are the biggest losers of the realignment that's coming on Saturday, July 1st.
So I'm not the natural thing is to stay in this realm and go with Cincinnati and or BYU are also joining the Big 12. I just don't know that they're the biggest winners or losers because they've both been really good.
Yeah.
Obviously, it helps to have that calling card. You want that move, but Cincinnati was in the playoff 2 years ago and had 8 NFL players, including Sauce Gardner. I mean, I don't know that this changes BYU's recruiting ability.
Right.
I think they'll continue to be BYU, and I think Cincinnati maybe will get a little bit of an uptick of some schools that some players that maybe would have gone somewhere else. So I'm going to say this. I actually think one of the biggest winners in this is West Virginia, because the Big 12 now has they now have some neighbors, and neighbors, I mean Cincinnati, obviously.
Yeah.
And when West Virginia is at its best, it's crushing in recruiting in Florida, particularly South Florida. But we'll take UCF as at least something to bring that presence back down there.
Yep.
That's when West Virginia has been at its, I think, as some of its best. Is it's done really, really well in Florida. It's a lot easier to get kids from Florida to go to West Virginia than I think it's proven to get kids from Texas to go to West Virginia. So the fact that they now have another team in Ohio, which obviously is a big, if you know that geography, Morgantown's not very far from Ohio. It's kind of wedged right between Ohio and Pennsylvania, or just south of it. Having some Florida presence. So even though they aren't moving, I'm deeming them one of the winners here.
Okay.
Good call.
All right.
There you go.
We're snaking, so you get a consecutive pick.
Okay, here's a winner. The MAC. Nothing's happening. I think the MAC is the only league that had nothing happen. No defectors or additions in the last few years.
Yeah.
Steady and straight, like an Indiana cornfield. The MAC. We got 12. We're good. All we need. You don't have to. You always remember what teams are in the MAC. No one's trying to get all uppity. Not hearing about like Toledo trying to, sneer its nose at Ball State or something. The MAC is there, steady. It is what it is. It's a action, great little fun league. That's it. They know their place in the world. MAC.
So, are we still doing winners or are we doing losers?
Oh yeah,
you can do both. Either one. We're open, free form here. Freestyle on the mic.
How about let me do a winner kind of into loser. And it's none of the teams, kind of like Dan did. Like I'll go with the conference. I mean, some of the winners in this is the Mountain West Conference and in the Sun Belt, because for so long the American kind of had that group of six, kind of had that they were the best, group of five league, and they kind of towered over everyone. And now, they're losing arguably I think they're revenue wise, losing their three highest revenue schools in the Sun Belt in the Mountain West. I think could make an argument, right, that they're right there. And then of course the loser on that side of that is the American that not only lost its three probably historically best schools and highest revenue producing schools, but replace them with schools that aren't similar, aren't on their level. I mean, UAB I think has a lot of potential in North Texas in a way, but the FAUs and the UTSAs and the Rice, I think a lot of people in college athletics probably scratch their head a little bit when the American invited those schools. It's almost like the American thought more about quantity than the quality. And as somebody mentioned,
can you name the teams that are entering the AAC? Can you do it? No cheating.
He just named most of them, but he didn't name
most
of
them.
Okay. UTSA, Charlotte, UAB, North Texas, and FAU. Right? I'm missing one.
Missing one.
No idea.
Missing one.
I think there's one more, but I don't know.
You mentioned them actually earlier. So.
Rice.
Just a minute ago.
You say Rice?
Rice.
Yeah,
there you
Rice.
go.
Yeah, yep. There you go. I took some help. But but to Dan's point, that's the problem, right? I don't know that how many people could do that. And that's why in a way, the loser is the American.
Yeah.
Trent Dilfer, new UAB coach, who's quickly becoming my favorite outspoken coach, says that the American is now the easiest path to the playoff. All they got to do is win the American.
Really? That's an interesting thought.
I don't know where. I would argue our conference is probably the best chance to get to the college football playoff when it expands. It's an automatic berth. You don't have to beat Alabama to get there or Georgia.
Who says
Trent
it's an automatic berth?
Well, it is now. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, there's 6 conference champions berths, right?
Yeah.
What makes him so sure they're going to be better than the Mountain West Conference champion?
Yeah, I don't know. All right, Pat, who you got?
All right, loser, Memphis.
Yeah.
As we discussed a couple of weeks ago, Memphis, we think has a lot to offer and could make a compelling case for them joining the Big 12, but they aren't joining the Big 12. And the Big 12, other than the clandestine meeting that they tried to deny with Memphis people, doesn't seem to be a whole lot of fire to the smoke there. And I feel badly for Memphis as though, they just saw all their peers at the top of the American League, and they're still there. So I would say the Tigers, while still striving, still hoping to get the call up, right until they get it, they are one of the losers here.
All right. Are we doing a round 3? Or
all right. Well, yeah, we can go a third round, and I'll double back.
Go ahead if you got one.
Yeah. I'll say San Diego State, which could absolutely end up being a winner. But for now, they've got the entire Mountain West mad at them, and they don't have a place to go. They got their bags packed, but they got nowhere to land, waiting for the Pac-12 to get itself together and trying to figure out exactly how much money it's going to cost them to leave. And if it ends up being twice as much and up to $34 million or whatever, that's a big hit. So them trying to negotiate their way out of the Mountain West and still not being able to get out for now, as of July 1st, I would put them in the loser category.
Dan, question. Can you name the 4 schools joining Conference USA without cheating?
Hands
Dan,
up.
No cheating.
Hold on. I think I can do it. Kennesaw State is one of them.
That's not happening
eventually.
Yet, right? Yeah, eventually, maybe. But I'm talking about the 4 coming this year, Dan. I see you reading on your computer, Dan. It looks like you're reading.
I don't have it. Do you think I typed that in? I do not know. Conference
not a
USA.
1? Not a 1?
Well, isn't James Madison eventually getting there?
Damn it, Dan. James Madison's been in for a year now.
But they were like they were like
well, they didn't even they're in the Sun Belt, right, Pat?
Yeah, they're in the Sun Belt. They're in the Sun Belt.
Okay, Dan, just stop. We'll stop. All right, the 4 teams joining Conference USA are Jacksonville State, Liberty, New Mexico State, and Sam Houston. And I'll say one of the winners
Mexico
here.
State sent me that whiskey that one time.
Yes, the big winners here are all of the 4, but the 2 independents, Liberty and New Mexico State, that now have a bowl slot. They'll have a Conference USA bowl slot. In the past, they needed conferences to not be able to fill their bowl slots to get a slot because they were independent. And so now they get a bowl slot. But not only that, Liberty, guys, honestly, Liberty has because of their resources there, where they're located, in their investment. And I've been to that campus. I've seen the facilities and the blank checks they throw around. They've got a good chance of getting into the playoff and being the group of 5 every few years, being the group of 5 champion, best group of 5 champion that gets in the playoff. I mean, they're like one of, 8 group of 5 schools that I would put there where they should have a shot resource wise to get that automatic berth. So they're a really big winner. Well, a lot of people would say they're not big winners, but they're, in this situation, they're big winners.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, I think that I don't think anybody would dispute the possibilities of Liberty. They got Jamie Chadwell
right
there now, so they retained a winning coach, and they have a real chance of being that. Look, if Notre Dame can be the nation's Catholic university and BYU can be the nation's Mormon institution, could Liberty be the Christian one? Obviously, there's a more competition along that line, but why not? They have something unique to sell, and they are in a beautiful area, and not a bad recruiting area. So, I'll go with that. I guess I can buy that. There's certainly this is why we got to have that 6th bid. I mean.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
it just will make the sport so much more interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. I'm already terrified that they're gonna dump it.
With good reason.
Yeah.
Start figuring out, wait a minute.
Well, hey,
why are we
in 2026 and beyond, they don't have an official TV agreement. So there's it's just a verbal agreement right now, basically.
Yep. All right. I don't know. This is not along Pat's game here, but I'll bring this up. There is word out of Cincinnati that Xavier is considering going Division I in football.
Right.
I highly recommend not doing that. I don't know.
It seems like a very dubious idea.
Would they try to go in? Or maybe they'd be non-scholarship or something. Don't do anything that would mess up your basketball program. Mm. I don't think they have any Ds. They got nothing. They don't have a team.
They do not play football.
Oh, they don't have a team. They don't have a football team at all. Yeah, okay, because I've never heard of Xavier
I guess
football.
they're trying to go FCS. I think I misread this story. Okay.
That makes
Don't
sense.
mess up the basketball program is fantastic.
You've got Sean Miller pour money into football.
Don't do this. Don't do this at all. But if you're going to do it, don't do anything that would impact the basketball program. It's been great for decades. You've got Sean Miller for presumably a long time. He's back. He doesn't need to. You're fine. So I would spend all your money on basketball.
I think they're wounded by Bob Huggins' comments and trying to lash out or fight back. Or something.
Well, you don't have to listen to him anymore. He's out. Maybe he'll become a Cincinnati radio host. All right. That's the end of the draft.
Draft is over.
I don't know. I'm out of topics. More stories from Georgia. Atlanta Journal-Constitution. They're going deep on the Bulldogs. Includes very cozy relationship, it appears, between the Bulldog football program and the Athens police. That's not exactly a surprise. Allegations against a then recruit, Jamal Jarrett, that he was let's see, what was he? He was out he broke curfew on a recruiting visit, went out to a bar drinking with his future teammates, and was eventually questioned about a potential sexual assault, sexual violence allegation in by the local police. He was only 16. Bulldogs signed him anyway. There's a couple other cases. They clearly have this fixer that's around the program all the time. Read the story. I don't want to. I'm not doing it all justice, but it's that this thing's teetering. Obviously, we had the tragic deaths and injuries earlier this year, and the drag racing. We've had multiple arrests on drag racing, all that. I thought Dan Walken of the USA Today made a good point. Like, you can brush this aside. It's just one or two things, and coach has got it under control, and you can trot out one or two guys that, this guy's a 4.0 and mathematical something, and bring out the Tim Tebow. But eventually, all this stuff tends to tear down these programs. Right. This is Urban Meyer was running Bible study until it all collapsed. And it's imperative football wise for Kirby Smart to take this thing over. Reading this story, it reaffirms my belief that Kirby Smart has no oversight. There's no oversight of Kirby, and there's no, including the mayor and police chief, let alone the president of the school. Kirby Smart does whatever the hell he wants. He's become so powerful. That's a very dangerous thing. He certainly does not want to see his program blow up on this stuff, and he's certainly not encouraging this type of behavior, but things can carry him out of control quite quickly. Pat, I'll start with you. I think you were on top of this. What's your thoughts on the latest story?
Yeah. No, he's not encouraging it, but how much is Kirby Smart doing to discourage it? That seems to be the problem. Things happen and they get swept under the rug, or the discipline goes internal and players don't seem to miss playing time. They don't get kicked off the team. They don't get kicked out of school. Far too often there's these things that keep happening, and there doesn't seem to be a commensurate response from the program the football coach, the athletic director, the president of the university. Where is the power to say we're not going to put up with this? Kirby Smart seems plenty willing to put up with it. And he may say they're saying one thing. They're saying it's not true that they don't have discipline or that their program's out of control. The records are telling a very different story. So you can say something, or you can read the written reports from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and say there is a big problem at Georgia, and nobody seems to care about it because we're winning national championships.
This is such a kind of it's almost like the Varsity Blues type of Southern football program winning championship coach can really do whatever they want, right? It's that in real life, and the reporting has been pretty incredible from the AJC, and they've dug deep with some of these records, and it's concerning that that players haven't been more disciplined, by Kirby Smart and the staff there. Look, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds are going to do stupid stuff. We've all been there. We've all done the stupid stuff, some worse than others. And good luck, right, controlling that group. But when they do stupid stuff, there has to be a consequence for it so that more stuff isn't done stupidly. And I think we've seen in Georgia that there aren't enough consequences.
Yeah, especially when you get into, some of these, sexual assault allegations, things like that, numerous ones.
Yeah.
That go beyond, and I know you weren't minimizing that, Ross.
Yeah.
But we've seen these downfalls of programs and the all-powerful coach that can do anything he wants and says, I got it covered, and they usually don't. Kirby Smart's a hell of a football coach, and he's very good at building this program up. None better. But there's also just the disappointment of what are we doing here? Do we need to cut corners? Do we really need to cut corners? We're Georgia. And so, I don't know, disappointing, but I'm guessing these stories are going to continue on. But we'll see, maybe. But it would be nice if somebody else at the university or the city cared to stand up. Because, this isn't, we've had 2 people die. I don't know what it will take for anyone to care, but I haven't seen anyone care yet.
Yeah, that's the thing here is when you have 2 people in your program die because of reckless behavior, and that doesn't seem to get through to people and change behavior, then that's extremely troubling.
I mean, there was a part where, in this thing, it was 8 members of the Georgia football team were able to go to a meeting with police and advocate for the local attorney. I don't know what it was, to advocate for one of their teammates to be released. I mean, it's just some of this stuff just doesn't seem. It just doesn't seem correct, right? 11 players during Kirby Smart's tenure have remained on the team despite women reporting violent encounters to the police, the university, or both. What are we doing?
Right.
Yeah.
This ain't 1968. It wasn't right then.
Yeah, and I should say this, I say stupid stuff, and a lot of what I'm referring to is the vast majority of what college athletes do when it comes to drinking and
breaking curfew and going to drink beers with your
parties. Yeah. Right. This stuff is obviously malicious and should probably trigger an automatic dismissal. Just from the school in general. I mean, what is the school academically? Sports is still tethered to higher education into the school. And so the school, I would think at some point gets involved. But again, got the old Southern successful football program, gets away with a few more things, maybe.
Mark Richt has lost the program. He's lost control of the program.
Yeah. See if we can go back.
Suspend everyone for smoking weed. What a quaint time. What a quaint time.
Yeah.
So July 1, 2 years ago, NIL became NCAA legal. I was told that the college sports would be a burning carcass at this point. No one would care. The NCAA and famously in its Supreme Court argument argued that this would turn college sports into minor league sports, which are not popular in America. Fans would be so angry at the concept that they were watching a player who also was making money. They would not watch. Amazingly, this week we had word out that despite kind of a really weird championship series, the College World Series was the highest rated of all time. I don't know. Maybe next year they'll stop caring.
Any day now, Dan. Any
day now. People are gonna be so outraged. The college sports continues to get bigger, more popular, and more profitable, and that's despite most of the leadership of college athletics, including the coaches and ADs, bad-mouthing the sport. Imagine if they just actually tried to promote their business. Amazing. Anyway, 2-year anniversary of NIL. Ross, what are the new rule? What's their new guidance? What do we got going on? Some letters were sent. I don't know.
Yes. The old NCAA memo went to schools. My days are all running together. Yesterday, the day before. But earlier this week, schools got a memo from the NCAA further clarifying their rules, in the interim NIL policy. And there are a few things to note, and we've talked about it on the show before, and this is happening especially in the SEC footprint, is that states are changing their law to, number one, permit schools to do things around NIL that are against NCAA rules. And number two, to prohibit enforcement of some of these NIL things within their state from the NCAA or from conference bodies. So in response to that happening, the NCAA released this memo that basically told schools, number one, you have to follow our rules, even if state law says you can break them. Number two, we are going to enforce our rules, even though some state laws say we can't enforce them, which we haven't seen them enforce the rules, by the way. We're still waiting on that. And number three, which I thought actually pretty fascinating, the most fascinating part of the memo was because it came in Q&A form, and it was the last question and answer from the NCAA, and I'm going to pull it up and read it, but in so many words, so here it is. So the question was, will the NCAA enforce its rules despite state law allowing some of these things? And the NCAA said NCAA rules are adopted by member schools. It is not fair to those schools who follow the rules to not enforce rules against those who choose not to do so. Schools who do not like the application of a particular rule should work through the NCAA governance process to change the rules. Unless and until the membership changes a particular rule, all schools, as part of a voluntary membership, are required to comply. And in short, I summed it up by the NCAA basically telling schools, these are your rules. We're just here to enforce them. So if you want to change them, you can change them. And oh, by the way, this is a voluntary membership organization, and if you don't want to follow your rules, you can see yourself out the door. So it was pretty blunt. It was like probably the strongest language from the NCAA we've seen on NIL so far. And now this may set up, if the NCAA does enforce its rules, it may set up a court legal fight, whatever, between states and the NCAA.
Yeah, I think that seems to be the collision course we're on, depending, where this goes. If there are cases brought to bear, infractions cases brought to bear that do run counter to what a state law is, then I think we'll end up in court. Billable hours lawyers win again with college sports.
Yes.
Yes. But yeah, I am confident that there are infractions cases underway and being investigated about collectives. Where they go, how successful they are in finding violations and turning those into allegations and then turning them into sanctions, I don't know. But I think I'm sure we will be finding out. I think the first real tangible collective type infractions cases will start coming down the pike later this year, I would guess, in 2022. And we'll see how much teeth there are behind them and what happens.
2023, Pat.
2023. Yeah, look, I don't even.
So,
you already drunk from July 4th? You don't even know what year it
is. Yeah, I don't know. Bob Huggins didn't know what city he was in. I don't know what year I'm in. So, yeah, I wish I could blame it on drinking a lot of beer, but I'm not.
The overarching part of this whole thing, and it's part of why the NCAA is in the situation it is that some of the NCAA member schools, the high-profile football programs, specifically those who make a lot of money, are at odds with the association. And when I say the association, I mean all the other schools, like 98% of schools. And that's why you hear a lot of the NCAA is going to split. Power 5 is going to split from the NCAA. It's not as much because of the actual headquarters in Indianapolis, the association. It's because these schools at the top of the industry, whether it's 10 of them, 20 of them, 50 of them, 70 of them, are not like everybody else. They make a lot more money. It's more of a business. And we're seeing this. We're seeing the separation more and more. And this is a good example, right? Because the NCAA memo says, hey, you want to change these rules? Go ahead and change them. And the vast majority of schools that are encouraging their lawmakers to change rules are the big football powers, specifically in the SEC. That's why it's spreading more in the SEC footprint. And you're seeing this more and more in the SEC. They have this idea that they're going to get their 12 states potentially to mirror each other, their state laws to mirror one another. And then the SEC itself can police and oversee NIL. So we're coming to a head here, where something's got to give.
Imagine that job. I want to be that cop. Don't catch any.
Yeah, right.
Take a nap, bro. Take a nap.
Yeah,
the SEC self-police?
The SEC NIL police. I mean, you just put your feet up on your desk and say, I'm a little busy today. I can't get to that.
I kind of summed it up in a tweet yesterday after the memo. It's basically a recap. Schools are lobbying their state lawmakers to create laws that permit those schools to break the very rules that they created, all in an effort to gain a recruiting advantage over rival schools, up until the point that those rival schools, get their state law changed to mirror or exceed their rivals. And then all the while this is all going on, these very same schools have agreed to put in charge of enforcing their own rules in organization, the NCAA, that's now in further legal jeopardy. Why? Partly because of the rule breaking by the very own schools that originally created the rules. College sports, baby.
At its best. And that is why, and I want everyone to listen very carefully to this because it does not get said often. The NCAA is 100% correct here. They are absolutely correct. These laws are stupid.
Yep.
This is a voluntary organization that carries with it enormous benefits, not the least of which you can pretend your professional sports operation is actually amateur athletics and you don't have to pay any taxes or the employees. These state laws are ridiculous. You don't have to join the NCAA. You don't like their rules? Don't join.
Yeah.
If you go play golf at a certain golf club and they say you must have a collared shirt, okay? There's no state law that can come along and say they don't have the right to say if you belong to this golf club, you got to wear a collared shirt. That's ridiculous. Don't join the club.
Yep.
That's all it is. Well, we could throw you out of the club if you don't wear a collared shirt. Well, obviously that's a ridiculous thing in the legal sense, but that's their rule.
Yeah.
You either join or you don't join. If it is so important for you to cheat the rules, then go find create a thing where we're all cheating the rules. Yet at the exact same time, they're claiming we need more rules. The NCAA memo in this is 100% correct. It's your rules. You created them. You have a way to change them if you want. We encourage you to go ahead and do it. We don't care. Yeah. But you cannot get the state of Texas say, that group you joined and got enormous benefit from, you don't have to follow their rules. Yeah. Like, it's one or the other. Like, you join an HOA, you move into an HOA, and they say, well, you can't paint your house hot pink. All right, well, if you want to paint your house a certain color, don't move into that neighborhood. This is the deal you made. NCA, 100% correct. I'm on your side. Don't say.
How about that? Do we clip and save that little segment right there? Dan Wetzel coming to the defense of the NCAA.
Poor little NCAA. All right, sad story. Go ahead. Then we'll get
I just envisioned Dan on like a white stallion, with a sword in hand and the mask
riding into Indianapolis,
Indy and leading the charge against these corrupt, money-hungry schools and on the side of the NCAA.
Meet me at the Slippery Noodle.
We'll use some of that
possibly the Red Garter,
LSU
possibly. Yeah,
by the way, since we're on NCAA stuff, we have to really quickly. Did you guys see what the NCAA Division I Council did on Wednesday? One of the biggest things they did, they increased the fee to go from FCS to FBS, the transition fee from $5,000 to $5 million. There were some unhappy FCS ADs and presidents that I heard from.
Good for them. Good for them.
Wow.
Yep,
party at the Slippery Noodle.
The FBS is already too.
The party is now
big.
at St. Elmo.
Yeah, we're going straight St. Elmo. It's good. Excellent point.
Point real quickly. I can see the NCAA headquarters from where I am right now. I'm in a hotel in Indianapolis. It looks like there's a big siege going on out there, so they need Wetzel on the horse soon. Get over there.
I will defend you guys on this.
Horseback Wetzel.
Yes.
With a bush light.
I wrote Wetzel the horse came in third recently.
Yeah, he doesn't win ever.
Sorry.
He doesn't finish last, though, at least, huh?
Oh, no, we're in the running. We're just getting going. We're getting going.
He's a steady plugger,
That's kind of best I could hope. I never win either. Good, I'm on the podcast with you two. Do you think I'm a winner in life? No.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah. All right. Sad story. Ryan Mallett, the great Arkansas Razorback quarterback. He was a 5-star recruit out of Texarkana, Texas. Originally went to Michigan, transferred to the Hogs. Had the Bobby Petrino offense. Really, really fun college football quarterback. Ended up doing 7 years in the NFL. Famously backed up Tom Brady for a couple years. It's pretty cool. Passed away on Tuesday, drowned while at a beach down in Destin, Florida. Sad story. 35 years old. I wrote a story that he had become a high school football coach, and which is what he always wanted to be. His dad was his coach and had coached all over the state of Texas. His uncle was a coach, maybe two uncles. He said his whole life he expected he would be Coach Mallett, and he became Coach Mallett. What was interesting is his name. He is, obviously very famous, accomplished, learned under Belichick and Harbaugh and Petrino and Tom Brady. His first job was as the offensive coordinator at Mountain Home, Arkansas. That was coming off a 3-season stint where they went 1-29. Didn't even care if he went to a good high school program. He just wanted to work with kids.
Yeah.
He was then at Whitehall, a small 5,000 person city, kind of near Pine Bluff. Ryan Mallett wanted to coach. He could have probably gotten hooked on to the NFL or the SEC or something. All he wanted to be was a small town high school football coach, and talked in a really interesting article in the Arkansas Democrat Gazette about just working with kids at that age. He made mistakes. He didn't do everything right. He wanted to help them through that process. And I thought that was really amazing because there's a guy who could have had all sorts of jobs and was basically acting like he had no pedigree at all. I mean, I don't know how hard it is to become an assistant coach on a 1-29 team. But when you're Ryan Mallett, you're a little more qualified. So I'd tell you a little bit about him. But football-wise, what do you remember about him, Pat?
Yeah, I mean, he was a heck of a player, and he did fit in that Petrino offense extremely well. Threw for like 7,500 yards in 2 seasons at Arkansas, 62 touchdown passes. So, I mean, he helped get that program back up to a high level that it hadn't really enjoyed. It was periodic success, I guess, under Houston Nutt, and then they had that good run at the start under Petrino, and then Petrino took the motorcycle ride, and that was that. But he was a very good player. And yeah, as you said, I mean, was doing what he wanted to do as a high school coach. And I think it's great. He was from Texarkana, not a big city guy by any means. And I think he really just loved the game and loved working with young people, and very sad developments for sure.
Yeah, awful. And I remember, I remember watching him. We were on the same age. So, I was in college or just out of college and watching him throw it around in Arkansas. I was pulling up his game log. It's just pretty incredible. I mean, his last season at Arkansas in 2010 was better than I even remember. Completed 64% of his passes, 32 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, a rating of 163. Pretty incredible. Towered over everybody, right? Was he like 6'5", 6'6"?
6'6"
or 7,
6'6". And it's a wonder, like, what happened? And we know a little bit, right? I think the riptides on the Florida Panhandle have been really, like, I guess, especially bad this year. And growing up down there, riptide was something everybody always warned about. And they've been especially bad this year. And they're sometimes hard, especially when you're in the water, to identify. And it's just awful. And people don't really know what they are. But, like, water comes in and it gets kind of trapped. And then it goes back out really quickly and it'll pull you out. And I remember feeling it on my legs before, where I was in, like, 2 or 3 feet of water, and you could feel the rush of the riptide because it's underneath the current, and you could feel it pulling you out by your feet, and it would knock you off your feet. And if I was in waist deep or above water, I would have been in trouble. I remember thinking, I'm not going out, any further. But it's and you're supposed to, like, when it takes you out, you're supposed to swim with it and not against it. And you're supposed to kind of float and swim with it, but too many people panic and they swim against it and they tire out and they drown. And I think my wife was telling me there's been 70 or 80 calls to drowning calls off the coast of Florida the last few weeks, because 70 in I think 11 people have died. It's just awful.
Wow.
Yeah, there's the Destin police are saying now that it wasn't the riptide, but whatever it was. But regardless, if you get caught in a riptide, just let it take you and then you swim around.
What
are they saying? Yeah. Dan, what are they? I didn't see the updated. What are they saying? What are they saying?
Know. Yeah, you got caught between 2 sandbars, But again, it's the same thing.
It's usually
same
a riptide.
Thing. Like you're stuck,
right?
Yeah. Or you're swimming. Who knows, right? No one's whatever it is. This is a great athlete who got caught up and couldn't make it. Yeah, his last year at Arkansas was one of their most. It's not the greatest hog team of all time, but it was a lot of. I mean, they almost beat Alabama, who's number 1. Lost at home 24-20. They won at Georgia. They beat A&M.
Beat LSU.
They beat LSU on a huge comeback. I think, right? I don't know, maybe that was earlier in whatever. They beat LSU, beat Mississippi State, and then they had a really fun game against Ohio State in the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, the Sugar Bowl game in which Jim Delaney personally lobbied to get the suspended Ohio State players in to be able to play.
Yep, it was very important that the Jim Delaney, man of the rule book, rule book.
Oh, yes.
Took care of the Sugar Bowl. Anyway, that's a sad story, and Ryan was one heck of a fun player to watch and all of that. So thoughts are with his family and his friends and all that. All right, big development. They've created a beer called Ames Lager. Ames Lager, the Iowa State collective, We Will Collective. They say we do not have a lot of oil barons or none at Iowa State, but we drink a lot of beer. So they're going to try to fund, at least partially, the athletic department's collective off of beer. And they teamed up with the West O Brewery. And they created this Ames Lager, an American lager. And they've been tweeting at us. And since we're suckers for attention, we're hyping it up.
Oh, yeah.
Because we do love the Ames water. Sean, do you have the Ames song? Might as well play it. Do we have that dialed up? We should have that on ready to go at any moment, at any time. Yeah. Go ahead, hit it. Takes a little while to get the lead in. Yeah. I'll stop talking when.
We love it in the city of Ames. Hooray! We love it in Ames. It's beautiful in autumn, late December brings snow. Ames is a safe place, the crime rate is low. We've got great schools, the students score high. We go for number one,
and not just to get by.
Ames High to the bronze.
We think that's great.
Over 357 schools in the state.
If you visit here, you won't want to go home.
Join us with a hooray for the awesome cyclones. It's ISU, the home of field magic. Driving with the top down by College Creek.
The spring is mild and the flowers shine.
Let's hear a hooray for the warm summertime.
Affordable living, why go to LA? Number 9 best city in the USA.
For a glass of water when you visit our town. Crack a smile.
Pick it down.
There it is.
There it is. Cleanest around.
The tap water.
Now we've had a very complicated relationship with this song. We've played it 100 times. Okay, stop playing. We later found that all the people in the video moved away except for one woman. Yeah. So if they love Ames so much, why did they move? Kia Cuck has been kicking their ass in the water competition in the state.
Yeah.
But Ames Lager. But then Pat, then I find out that the Ames Lager is made in West Okoboji. West Okoboji, Iowa, not Ames. I don't know if we're getting Ames water, and I was extremely skeptical of this. And then I found out that Lake Okoboji Lake or whatever is part of what's called the Iowa Great Lakes. Have you ever heard of this?
What?
Iowa has their own Great Lakes?
Until Nebraska, Rutgers, and Maryland joined, every Big Ten state had a Great Lake. Had some Great Lakes on. They all touched a Great Lake.
Oh, right. Yeah.
If not multiple ones. So Iowa apparently got upset and created their own Great Lakes, which are really just some puddles. And it's up by the Minnesota border. So then I was like, well, this is garbage. I'm going to trash this. But then I found out that Okoboji Lake is like a mini, like where the Shady Gators at the Ozarks, Lake of the Ozarks. Oh yeah, they link up their boats and go bananas. All these Iowans just go nuts. Everyone's getting trashed out on this lake. So now I am like the freaking stock market, up and down off of this thing. Now I'm all in for Ames Lager because this is the brewery of apparently the debauchery center of all of Iowa. And I'm finding out about stuff I never even heard of. We had Great Lakes and party. I didn't even know they had a party in Iowa.
See, this is the kind of reporting expertise you get on this podcast. Not much that actually has to do with college athletics, but Wetzel with the deep dive on Lake Okoboji.
I want to go to Lake Okoboji.
We should go do a podcast there.
Someone get us a boat. I want a boat. Live from Okoboji, whatever that thing is.
If the meetup goes really well in Nashville and this thing takes off, the next meetup will be on a houseboat in Lake Okoboji. Let's do it.
Pat, will you drink the Ames Lager?
100%, because I think they're offering it to us like as a promotional thing, right? So
I'm already promoting and they didn't give me anything. I haven't had a sip.
Yes, I will absolutely. If called, I will serve with pride. It's a great honor to have them seek us out to try their lager. I'm in.
Ross, you in on the Ames Lager?
Sure. I don't turn down many alcoholic beverages, and a lager I'm a big fan of. I am looking up these quote Great Lakes in Iowa on the border of Minnesota, by the way, because that's getting up there. You know, it's pretty north for me. I don't know that I can make that trip, but certainly
it's hot as hell up there right now. It's hot as hell.
Oh, that's okay then. All right. Well, that's all right.
That area gets hot.
There is there is a restaurant on the lake called the Barefoot Bar at Okoboji.
Ooh.
It sounds like a good place.
I'm telling you. Lake Okoboji here, or whatever. It's got underrated. It's underrated. Gotta be. No rated. It was not rated. It's a secret. So what are you doing for July 4th? Oh, I was thinking going to Vegas, going to go like Washington, D.C., see the fireworks over there. No, I'm going to the Minnesota-Iowa border, to the Iowa Great Lakes.
There you go.
What the hell kind of farmer are you? But hey.
Tomorrow night, Friday night, Lake Park fireworks.
It's going to be lit. I want pictures from there sent to us. I am now a believer in this place. Cyclones and Hawkeyes unite. Maybe a few Gophers. Maybe some Duluth, some Mankato Staters. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in this spot.
University of Okoboji homecoming races like triathlon. Yeah, July 15th. That's coming up.
There's actually a University of Okoboji?
There is. And the University of Okoboji also has a tennis classic, July 8th.
Wow.
I had no idea. I have lived my whole life just in darkness. I am got my eye on you as a potential vacation destination.
I think we owe it to ourselves.
Quick crime and punishment.
Yeah.
Out in Vegas. A man posed himself as the owner of a Las Vegas hotel and convinced a casino employee at the Cage to give him $1 million to pay for fire safety equipment.
Oh, my goodness.
June 17th, Las Vegas Metro Police responded to Circa Hotel Casino in downtown Las Vegas for a report of a possible scam. A person from the hotel's security office told detective a, quote, unknown person had contacted the casino Cage, quote, claiming to be the owner of the hotel and asking for $320,000 in an emergency payment to the fire department.
Wow.
They said the fire department needed to do a check on the fire extinguishers and they needed payment. The Cage supervisor brought the money in 4 installments to the unknown person at different offsite locations. $314,000, then $350,000, then $500,000, plus 3 smaller deposits, resulting in $1.17 million. The employee believes she was on the phone with the hotel's owner and texting with her manager. Eric Gutierrez, 23, has been arrested and charged with the theft.
23.
23 years old. If guilty, punishment or hat tip? Hat tip at one of the great scams. He just walked up and said, give me the money.
Yeah, and got $1 million.
1.1 million.
If anybody's getting jailed here, it should be the person in charge of the Cage who gave the money to a 23-year-old. They said they delivered it in installments in person. And you look at this guy, and you look at this guy, he's 23, and say, yeah, that's the owner of the hotel? What? How dumb are you? Come out of the Cage? Yeah. I mean, no, I applaud the dude for, absolute onions in attempting this scam and pulling it off well enough to actually get paid. He should have left the country immediately after the 3rd big installment, but oh well.
I like how he kept upping it.
Yeah.
Hat tip indeed. And fire the teller.
The cost of a fire inspection keeps going up. I need another $500,000.
This is the plot of Ocean's 14 or whatever, right? Like I watched those movies and like Clooney's doing all this stuff and it's very, very complicated. All you had to do was pretend, hey, I own the joint. I need $300K. Fire department. Okay. Fantastic. Hat tip. Tip. We need that guy working in the real world. No crime. No, we
do not need the Cage manager working in the real world.
At some point, is it really a crime if you're just exploiting stupidity of that level?
Yeah, right.
I say no. All right, finally, last story. Chicken sandwich war is one of our go-tos through the years. There has been a new entrant. We haven't had a new entrant later. This one's pretty interesting, though. Panda Express is testing out an orange chicken sandwich.
What?
Yeah.
Come on.
Now, everyone else is going with the straight chicken sandwich. They've basically been trying to beat out what I believe is the best Popeyes, but others would say Chick-fil-A. They're just trying to get in on the same sandwich and make it a little bit better. But the orange chicken sandwich now is coming in a whole. This is like a fusion, right?
Yeah.
Right. This is fusion food cooking. So it's they're deciding whether to use a King Hawaiian bun or a potato bun. But whatever they're going to do, they're going to throw the for a limited time. Let's see. Let me see this press release here or whatever. In Southern California, you can go to the Panda Express in Orange County, in Mission Viejo, Downey, Baldwin Park, Whittier, and Mission Viejo again. You can figure out which one. Inspired by fan favorite dish, the original orange chicken, the OC sandwich marries its beloved sweet and tangy flavors with America's favorite comfort food, fried chicken. Crispy chicken glazed in our signature orange sauce, topped with pickles, sriracha aioli, and a potato bun. Ross, would you eat it?
I would certainly try it. It doesn't sound half bad now that you describe the full thing. I'm a fan of chicken sandwiches. Usually I try to go with grilled chicken, but hey, I'll try it. I don't think it sounds half bad. And I like potato buns a lot. I'm a big fan.
I'd rather have like a Kung Pao chicken sandwich, frankly, than an orange chicken. If we're going with the Asian flavors,
Pat giving them ideas.
That's right. Diversify the menus a little bit more. One thing, Panda Express, that's like a chopstick place, and now they're giving you a handheld. I think that just kind of violates the ethos of the whole restaurant chain.
A chopstick place.
It is, they're all their food is eaten with chopsticks. Now all of a sudden they're going to give you bread and a bun.
Pat, have you ever been to Panda Express?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like one out of every 50 person in the Panda Express knows how to use chopsticks. Come on.
Well, I guess I'm that one. I like using my chopsticks when I go to Panda Express.
These people are shoveling it home with an oversized spork. I'm intrigued. I was intrigued at the concept. I'm not sure about this sriracha aioli and a pickle on top of the orange chicken.
Yeah,
I got to see. But
pickle could be iffy.
Well, let me tell you what. If I happen to live by the Panda Express at 8510 Firestone Boulevard in Downey, yeah, you'd catch me over there. I'd be there.
Yeah, yes. If any of us should end up in Orange County while this trial run's going on, I think we owe it to the pod to, I tested the Busch Light Peach. Somebody needs to test the orange chicken
Let
sandwich.
Let us know. Okay, so we had a lot of homework for you guys. You got to taste the sandwich. You got to let us know about this party lake in Iowa, and someone's got to find us a bar in Nashville.
Yeah.
We're taking the weekend off, but you people have assignments.
That's right.
Assignments. We would also really appreciate if the commissioners and the ADs of America would not blow up the Pac-12 this weekend. Can you wait till Wednesday? Wait till Wednesday?
Please.
Yes. Let's please not have a repeat of last June 30th when USC and UCLA did their thing. When, by the way, I was at a ramen place with chopsticks in my hand eating some noodles out of a ramen bowl. When I looked at my phone, I was like, you got to be friggin' kidding me.
You are just a citizen of the globe. You are a citizen of the world.
Try your chopsticks, everybody.
Yep. All right. That's got to be the show. Yeah. Everyone have a good, safe 4th. Talk to you next week. Appreciate everyone listening. Getting closer to the season. Believe it. Yep. Talk to you later.